Time to learn how to query our collections and databases. There are multiple ways in which you can interact with your data in MongoDB. One is directly from the Atlas UI, so we'll start with that. Welcome to the Data Explorer. From your Atlas cluster, navigate to the Data Explorer by clicking the Collections button. Let's see what the data that we'll be using for this course looks like. This view is the Data Explorer feature of Atlas. On the left menu bar, you can see the different databases that are currently stored in your cluster, and if you expand any of the databases, you can see which collections they contain. There is also a neat summary at the top that tells us how many databases and collections we currently have, as well as an option to create a database. You can also search for specific collections or database by name. The search bar for this says namespaces. A namespace is the concatenation of the collection name and database name. For example, sampletraining.companies is the namespace for the companies collection, which is part of the sample training database. If you select that, then the selected namespace will appear above the collection preview. Once we select a particular namespace to explore, the Data Explorer offers us different ways to interact with the documents in the selected collection. By default, you get the preview of the documents in the Find tab, which is the tab where we'll spend the rest of this chapter. Let's select the zips collection in the sample training database and get right to it. Right away, we can learn some things about this collection, like its size, the number of documents, and index size. They're all listed at the top of the Data Explorer. We will discuss indexes later in this course. For now, it's good to know that there are almost 30,000 documents in this collection. In the Find view, we can only see 20 documents at a time on one page. We even get this nice view of the documents where I can see the name and value of each field, and the JSON notation with things like curly brackets and quotes around the field names is all stripped. I can easily see the structure of these documents and can expand the fields that contain more complex types of values, like arrays and subdocuments. Now, the question is, how can we query this collection? Let's say I want to see all the documents where the state is New York. For this, I navigate to the filter field and enter a valid JSON query, specifying the field name and value that I'm looking for. The UI is so nice to remind me of the format that is expected of a query, so I follow this format and enter curly bracket, state in quotes, colon, New York in quotes. This yields a lot of results, and we see the first 20 of them. I want to narrow the amount of results so that they all fit on the same page. So let's add another criteria to this query and look for all documents where the state is New York and the city is Albany. When I issue a query like that, all documents that have these exact two fields in them with these exact values will be returned. In this case, we get 7 documents back, and they all fit on one page, so that's great. In the next lesson, we'll explore how to query this data in the shell without the use of the Atlas UI. In this lesson, we learned how to navigate to the Data Explorer UI through Atlas and even got to issue our first queries in the sample training collection. To issue a query, we have to use valid JSON. The return documents will contain the given field value pair in them.